All right, well, we got a good turnout. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hung Tan. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for HPE Hybrid Cloud. Now, you're here today because as leaders of your organizations, you understand the imperative to innovate. Companies that innovate and self-disrupt do not merely survive, they thrive. So companies have an important choice to make: innovate or become obsolete. But innovation is hard. Many promise innovation, but few deliver. Public cloud promised innovation, but what many of you got was escalating costs, unplanned downtime, and data breaches. And all the while, you are stuck with an IT environment that is more complex and more siloed than it has ever been. This is why picking the right partner is so important to your chance of success in your innovation journey. A partner with a deep understanding of what keeps you up at night. A partner that is maniacally focused on innovating on your behalf. HPE is that partner. So let's see a show of hands, okay? Who here in the audience have lost sleep because you need to move faster to modernize your aging infrastructure, but your organization has skill gaps to be able to execute? Okay. Who here has lost sleep because you're worried that complexity is creating security vulnerabilities in your environment? All right? Or that unforeseen cost increase is forcing you to rethink your IT roadmap. Okay, more? Who here has lost sleep because you know you need to accelerate the adoption of Gen AI, but at the same time, you're worried that very adoption is going to create shadow IT all over again? So clearly, you're not alone. But the good news is HPE is here to help. Today, I will show how HPE is investing and innovating to help you tackle these challenges head on. You'll be joined by two industry leaders who showcase the powerful outcomes that are possible through their partnership with HPE. I will also share the latest enhancements to HPE GreenLake. These are not incremental enhancements. These are game changers. Game changers that can help you modernize your IT infrastructure, accelerate your adoption of AI and cloud-native technologies, and drastically simplify your IT operations. But don't just believe me. Let's hear it from our customer, Porsche Informatik, the IT backbone of the world's largest auto manufacturer, Volkswagen Group. Porsche Informatik is responsible for delivering innovative, premium experiences for Volkswagen Group's car dealerships and car buyers across 34 countries on 4 continents. Which means, if you have ever owned a Volkswagen, a Skoda, Seat, Audi, a Bentley, a Lamborghini, or a Porsche, you have directly benefited from the services of Porsche Informatik. Today, we'll talk about Porsche Informatik's innovation journey, the challenges they faced. We'll talk about how partnering with HPE is helping Porsche Informatik shape the future of automotive retail. So please join me in welcoming Thomas Zengel, Head of Cloud and Virtualization Services.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome. Please have a seat. So first of all, thank you for being here at Barcelona. Now, one of Porsche Informatik's models which really resonates with me is the solution that we dreamt of did not exist, so we developed it ourselves. So tell us more about Porsche Informatik and your vision.
So the vision of Porsche Informatik is derived from our, let's say, mothership. So we are part of the Porsche Holding Salzburg. As you said, we are one of the world's largest car retail chains. We are part of the Volkswagen Group, right? So we did about 30 billion euros revenue last year. So we are the service provider. We create the software that drives this business. So our vision is that we want to enable our customers to shape the future of mobility. But what does that mean? So one transforming or one thing that we see in this whole world is digitalization. Like we are transforming at a massive scale. Some countries are faster, some countries are slower, some businesses are different, right? And for us, transformation, making processes digital are key, yeah? Are key to be efficient, to be competitive in the market, competitive with newcomers like Tesla, yeah?
Yeah.
So the thing is, when you start to digitalize your processes, you throw away all those pen and paper things, yeah? Then you suddenly rely on your IT a lot more, right? So reliability and platform availability is so much more important, yeah? So when we realized that at a greater scale, we rethought, like, what is the focus which we need to put on in the next 2 years? And one focus is robustness, so robust IT. Second is sustainability, obviously, yeah, to like become more energy efficient, more green IT. That's getting into our focus. And how can we make innovation faster and more, let's say, happen consciously by using AI? So
makes sense. So one thing I find really impressive is the fact that you're providing a very impressive array of services ranging from dealer management systems and financing platforms for literally millions of stakeholders across the world. And you're doing that while having to cater to the needs of a broad portfolio that have very differentiated brands, right? So how are you able to pull that off?
I think one of the strengths of Porsche Holding is that we know very well how to sell cars and how to take care of the customer. Being customer-centric is, I think, one of the key success factors we live, yeah? And this is the DNA. And how does this transform into, let's say, or translate into Porsche Informatik and the services we are creating? Well, they are very integrated. So I want to give you an example. Think of you were interested in a new Audi, yeah? Go on our website. Website is hosted at Porsche Informatik, is made by Porsche Informatik. There is a car configurator. You can click your new brand new car. You come to the point where you say, hey, this is the car I want to have. You get a little code. You go to the dealership, look at the car in real life, and you give this code to the sales guy. He pulls up your configuration you already made, gets you a nice quote. You can do financing. So we pull all those different systems and services together to the point when you get your tires changed the next time. We know everything about you as a customer and the car. And that is the strength of our systems.
That's very impressive. So tell us, obviously, I'm assuming it took you a time and investment to get to that point. What were some of the challenges you faced along the way, and how did you choose HPE GreenLake to help you tackle those challenges?
I think where HPE really stood out of what other companies could also potentially offer is that with HPE GreenLake we are able to pay to grow easily and pay for what we need. Yeah? So we are extremely flexible when we have sudden changes in demand, in new services. Rollouts change, like suddenly we have a new country to onboard.
Right.
Yeah, so this is extremely helpful. And last year we kicked off a new initiative that's called resilience analysis. So because we have digital processes more and more and we rely on them, we need to provide the resilient platforms to help power them, right? Yeah. So we suddenly needed up to 80% more capacity to fulfill those requirements. And with HPE GreenLake and the quick ramp up of new, compute power was a matter of weeks, days, suddenly. Yeah.
Wow.
So-
Actually, on that point, can you share with the audience, what were some of the business outcomes that you were able to achieve with GreenLake?
Yeah, one thing I didn't mention yet is the team that powers this platform. So the people who, let's say, design, build, architect, and this is only a handful of people. And we wouldn't be able to do that if we wouldn't have had great help from HPE. So we use a lot of their services in our data center. We rarely go into our data centers anymore. Instead, we call our friends from HPE.
Great to
People
hear.
know
Yeah.
it's more like a virtual team, you know. And this can only work because you trust each other. They are reliable. It's the same faces, and they know us very well, and they know our procedures. Yeah?
That makes a lot of sense. So now, looking to the future, what are your future plans for Porsche Informatik, and how can HPE GreenLake support you as your business needs evolve?
Yeah. I want to share with you that we were also one of those public cloud adopters, like,
Oh,
let's
wow,
go all
okay.
in, right?
Yeah.
It didn't happen that way.
Okay.
Let me be honest. So we became hybrid by accident. Well, we don't say it like that. We are hybrid by design.
Yes, yes.
And we found for ourselves that we want to have a hybrid cloud strategy where we use HPE GreenLake for our steady workload, for our workload that is, you know, compliancy reasons and so on and so forth. And we'll continuously grow there, and we pull in hypervisors or hyperscalers as we need, like Azure for AI workload, whatsoever. And what I think will happen is we will expand our local data centers, right? But we have augmented that with hyperscaler platform services. So.
That makes sense, and I'm happy to know that you guys are now on a hybrid by design path as opposed to hybrid by accident. So, you know, an incredible journey that you guys have been on with HPE GreenLake. It's really a true testament to how innovative applications combined with high-performing, reliable IT infrastructure can really significantly enhance service quality and speed at a truly global scale. So. It also brings to life the power of partnership in navigating the complexities of IT transformation. So I look forward to our continued partnership, and thank you so much again for joining us to talk about your journey.
Thank you for having me.
Take care. So, over the past 5 years, HPE has become recognized as the leader in hybrid cloud. And the reason why we are the leader, and the reason why we've been able to help enterprises like Porsche Informatik innovate, is because at HPE, we practice what we preach. We have been on a deliberate and aggressive innovation journey ourselves. Let me take a few minutes to walk you through that journey. And I like to think of our journey as really 3 chapters. Chapter 1 is all about helping enterprises aligning their IT spend to their business model. Chapter 2 is about enabling that cloud experience on premises. And chapter 3 is about building a full hybrid cloud stack to dramatically simplify your IT operations and to help you accelerate the adoption of AI and cloud-native technologies. So let's go through each one of these. Now, when we started with HPE GreenLake, we wanted to address a key shortcoming of IT, this CapEx model of IT, which led to over-provisioning and large upfront commitments. Now, what you all wanted instead was more flexibility. You wanted to pay for what you consumed when you consumed it. And so, with the support of our financial services and our operational services, we delivered through HPE GreenLake a true consumption-based model for IT. This was a big win for our customers because it gave them newfound flexibility, and it allowed them to scale up and scale down their consumption based on the ebb and flow of their business. But we didn't stop there. In chapter 2, we continued to innovate on your behalf because your roles as IT leaders were evolving. You needed to transition from the task of IT management to becoming digital service providers to your internal stakeholders, to your lines of business and your developers. To enable this transition, HPE delivered two major innovations. Number one was a fully integrated private cloud to speed up the provisioning of IT services. Number two was a cloud-based management platform to drastically simplify the task of IT management. By doing that, we brought the cloud experience on-prem to where your data sits. It gave your teams an automated way to deploy infrastructure as a service to your lines of business. It drove agility and efficiency, which in turn turbocharged business innovation. Bringing the cloud experience on-prem was a huge win for our customers. But we didn't stop there, because the pressures being put on IT leaders and your organizations are only increasing. Escalating cloud costs, unexpected price increases, the rapid adoption or advancements in AI, more regulation, more security risks. Addressing these challenges is what we have been focused in Chapter 3 of our journey. And addressing these challenges, we're innovating in two areas. First, we expanded our private cloud portfolio to ensure we provide our customers with a future-proof platform that meets the needs of your current workloads as well as the needs of your future workloads. So you've already been to the keynote, hopefully, and you heard about some of these additions. We announced HPE VM Essentials, virtualization software, which is aimed to reduce cost and optimize your virtualization estate. We announced Private Cloud AI to dramatically accelerate time to value for generative AI applications from months to literally days. We announced this disconnected private cloud to meet the stringent security and sovereign requirements of highly regulated industries. And we also announced private cloud pre-provisioned at Equinix colocations worldwide to enable that rapid deployment use case and to enable very important cloud-adjacent use cases. The second area of innovation is in hybrid cloud operations. Here we have curated a portfolio of hybrid cloud services to fundamentally address the complexities of managing multi-cloud and multi-generational IT estates. This portfolio allows us to enable a unified hybrid cloud operating model, and it's a game changer for our customers. So, what do I mean when I say a unified hybrid cloud operating model? Well, thanks to our acquisition of Morpheus Data, along with OpsRamp, Zerto, and organic innovations in our GreenLake platform, you can now discover, observe, provision, manage, optimize, and protect your entire IT environment across any runtime, any cloud, any vendor, any location, all through a single control plane. Take a second and let that sink in. For the first time, you can eliminate operational silos and manage your private clouds, your brownfield environments, and your public clouds in a unified operating model without being locked in to a single ecosystem, without having to pay for services that you don't need. No other company in the industry can match this value proposition. This is true customer-centric innovation. This is truly game-changing. The results we've been able to achieve along with our customers during our GreenLake journey speak for themselves. Through our innovations, we enable our customers to focus on transforming, innovating, and ultimately deliver incredible business outcomes. And that's how we earn our keep to be your trusted partner on your innovation journey. One customer where we have a trusted partnership is Nationwide Building Society, a company that is taking full advantage of HPE GreenLake's hybrid cloud capabilities. Nationwide was founded in the 19th century, but they're innovating like a startup. Our partnership with Nationwide highlights how HPE can help modernize your IT infrastructure, but also enable IT departments to become internal digital service providers to turbocharge business innovation. So please join me in welcoming to the stage Nationwide's Director of IT Infrastructure and Service Delivery, Paul Walsh. Welcome, Paul. Yes, thank you. Please. So thank you for joining us, Paul.
Good to be here.
So Nationwide has undergone an impressive transformation. I'm really excited that you're here to actually share that with the audience. But first, can you tell us more about Nationwide Building Society and how it's different from your traditional bank?
Yes, so we're a financial services business in the UK. Building societies are a fairly UK-centric concept. Those outside the UK, you may have heard of credit unions or cooperatives. In essence, we're not on the stock market. We are owned by our customers and our members, which gives us a very different proposition and an ability to really invest in both customer service and hopefully innovation.
That sounds very impressive, and sounds like you're making a big difference to home buyers in the UK. So tell us, obviously you have a unique business model. What are some of the inherent sort of complexities or challenges you face that comes with that business model?
Yeah, so we have recently announced an acquisition of Virgin Bank in the UK. So our combined new organisation now services about 24 million customers in the UK, which is just over a third of the whole of the UK population. We're the second biggest savings provider in the UK, second biggest mortgage provider, and £1 in every £8 in the UK that's saved is with us. So we have have a reliance in the country to make sure that people can access their money, can move their money, and do what they need to do when they need to do.
Right.
That becomes really challenging, particularly for an IT organisation. Like many banking organisations around the world, we still have a big reliance on batch infrastructure, but more and more we're moving to digital-first propositions, balanced with what we see as a real critical differentiator, our retail network. So we have the biggest retail network in the UK now as well, and we think the balance between offering digital services, but that human contact, which often can be delivered through that digital service, is one of the things that really differentiates us in the marketplace. What our model allows us to do, as I mentioned, is to innovate and to try and invest in that. And I guess GreenLake was a good example of where we took a fairly standard end of service life risk issue that we were starting to run with, and thought about how can we not only mitigate that risk, how can we start to really develop and take our products further forward.
Makes sense. And what's interesting is you've taken a deliberate hybrid cloud strategy with HPE GreenLake as a core piece of that. Yep. Tell us more about how you made that decision and how GreenLake aligns with your long-term vision.
I think like many customers, and certainly like Porsche, that wasn't our starting place. So cloud first was definitely the buzzword for a long time in the organisation. And I think actually it was during the engagement with HPE as we were trying to select our platform of the future for our data centres, we realised actually the ability for us to deliver that hybrid cloud environment would actually really help our business push forward. I think trying to get away from having all of our business leaders spending all their time figuring out whether they should put their workload into Amazon, AWS or on-premise they should focus on what they're really good at and let the infrastructure guys kind of focus on that. So we're trying to get to a position where the focus is on what are the requirements around availability, data sovereignty, etc., and we can then make sure we align that into the right landing zone. Our long-term vision is absolutely a hybrid cloud, so we see the ability for us to move our critical workloads between both public cloud and on-premise. That could be due to specific requirements, it could be due to spikes in business demand, or actually specific features that are available. So absolutely, we are into the hybrid cloud journey, and GreenLake is a core part of how we'll deliver that.
Makes sense. And one thing I find interesting is because we have such a close partnership, we are evolving together, right? And so one of the things you've adopted later was Morpheus data, right? And so can you share with the audience, how are you using Morpheus data? What are some of the capabilities that you find are really making a difference at Nationwide?
Yeah, sure. So when we think about the strategy for GreenLake, and that was around how do we make sure that our internal IT teams can get the platforms and the infrastructure they need very, very quickly and in a very standardized way. It was an issue we had for many years was around just the number of variances of IT we had in our data centers. We had a very, very heterogeneous environment. What we're trying to get to with GreenLake is a very homogeneous environment. So we have a single platform that has a single control plane, that has a single managed service with HPE, and a single commercial construct underneath. Yes, there may be slightly different flavors of the boxes on top, but actually trying to standardize that is really powerful. We then extend that standardization into the services and products we deliver into our developers and projects. So standard T-shirt sized infrastructure delivered via two mechanisms, and this is where Morpheus fits in. So we've always had a strategy in the last few years to try and move to much more infrastructure as code, remove lots of those manual processes that our IT teams are trying to battle with. That gets harder and harder, particularly as you're trying to inject pace. So we want to make sure our developers and our projects have the ability to request either via clicking in via the Morpheus interface or requesting exactly the same product via an API to kind of build an end-to-end infrastructure as code platform. So we felt it was important to offer both of those different options to our developers. I think over time we'll probably move to much more, probably a 80-20 in terms of code versus click. But certainly in the near future, having the option to provide those standardized builds, but also the ability to then maintain those builds. We've taken out literally hundreds and hundreds of tickets coming into the central IT teams for that life cycling of VMs on the platform by offering self-service straight out to the areas within the organization, within their own dedicated ring-fenced area. So there's no risk of the wrong people making change to the wrong environment. And we use that structure to then provide show-back billing around actually their consumption costs on-premise as well as public cloud. So our FinOps model has morphed from being purely about public cloud into how does that hybrid cloud start to develop.
Well, that's a fantastic use case for Morpheus. And it sounds like you're actually taking advantage of the entire capabilities of Morpheus. So that's great. So what's next? What's next for Nationwide, and how can we support you?
So I talked about that kind of strategy of having a single technology stack with a single control plane, single management service, and a single commercial contract. So kind of use case one for us was about virtualization. So how do we kind of provide that on-premise virtualization platform? Phase two then started to stretch into some very niche requirements around bare metal, but we deliver that through GreenLake as well. Phase three is then around Superdomes, or 3200s as they're now called. So that the kind of high performance in-memory platforms, again within GreenLake. Use case 4, which we're just on the cusp of starting, is around containerization. So again, they are the 4 platforms that will sit within our GreenLake environment, but that real common underlay is what I think will drive the efficiency for us.
That makes sense. And the fact that you've adopted the other platform makes it much easier to add that capability to the environment. So excellent. Well, Paul, we're obviously 100% committed to your success and supporting you in your continued transformation journey. So I want to thank you again for joining us today and share with the audience your transformation journey.
Good stuff. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Cheers.
Okay, so next, I want to dig a little deeper in the 2 technologies that enable HPE to deliver a complete hybrid cloud platform and to deliver the experiences that Nationwide has been able to benefit from. Morpheus and OpsRamp. Morpheus, as you just heard, allows rapid deployment, provisioning, and management of workloads in any IT environment through a self-service portal and API-driven DevOps. And OpsRamp provides an advanced IT operations management platform through a unified observability capability with AI-driven analytics and automation. Now, combining the power of both technologies evolves HPE GreenLake to a complete hybrid cloud platform, a platform that offers end-to-end management from workload provisioning to intelligent operations. Now, please join me in welcoming the minds behind Morpheus and OpsRamp, Brad and Varma. Welcome. So thanks for both being here today to help explain how OpsRamp and Morpheus combine to complete our GreenLake vision and really turning HPE GreenLake into a full stack hybrid cloud provider. Brad, well, I'm going to start with you. So clearly, as you can tell, we at HPE are very excited about the Morpheus acquisition, right? But why don't you explain to the audience here why they should be excited about the acquisition and what problems are we trying to solve?
Yeah, absolutely. I can't say it any better than Paul and Nationwide did, and a lot of what Porsche is trying to do as well. IT trying to deliver services more efficiently and more effectively to their end consumers is actually why Morpheus exists. For those who take a step back in the DeLorean and the history books, we were actually started inside my boss's $4 billion private equity firm to do digital transformation into dozens of companies. And our team needed a platform. Well, like you said, if it didn't exist, you built it. Well, we built a platform to help modernize apps across any landscape. And I would think a lot of the IT leaders in the room today are also trying to enable their internal data analysts, development teams, and project teams to move faster. And so that's what we enable.
Excellent. Now, over to you, Varma. So OpsRamp, if you don't know, has been an integral part of our platform to a year and a half now and going on 2 years, right? Can you actually give the audience a quick refresher of the problems that OpsRamp is solving for our customers?
Yeah, I think, if you look at the entire IT estate for any enterprise today, whether it's hybrid by design or hybrid by accident, is multi-vendor, multi-cloud. To really simplify the operations, you need a new way of looking at and getting the visibility of the entire IT estate, right? So OpsRamp's journey always, from the beginning, even founding days, we always believed the infrastructure is federated and central IT's role needs to be a service provider to the lines of business, giving applications and visibility to the people who leverage those applications and make sure that IT is always the first to know. To deliver that, the first order of priority is to kind of get a full stack visibility and observability of the entire IT estate, whether it is on-prem, private, or public, right? Number one. Number two is when you get the observability, you have a lot of alerts and events and signals, being able to kind of make sense of, getting those insights that are needed for optimally finding out the probable root cause or anomalies is the number two piece of the puzzle. Number three is to automate, being able to kind of some of those IT operations that needs to be automated by, delivering what, can be delivered without human intervention. So those three pieces really bring ultimately to give IT to expose KPIs or dashboards that an enterprise business unit can see how the business services are running.
Makes sense. Now, so obviously, based on what you're saying, right, OpsRamp is a game changer for the GreenLake platform and what it can do for our customers. But from your perspective, how does the addition of Morpheus build on that? And how does that provide our customers with a competitive advantage?
Very good question. So like Brad and customers like Nationwide said, the IT journey of any workload starts with provisioning and orchestration. And then day two operations management comes after that. So if you look at these two technologies coming together, now you have a solution with unified hybrid operating model that HPE is offering through the GreenLake platform. You have cradle to grave, from a workload coming to life till the workload is decommissioned, the entire care and feed that you need to kind of do to make IT to act like a true service provider to the lines of business is coming together. So these two solutions stitched together is a unique differentiation, not only for HPE, but to our customers to be able to show that business first, business needs first, and deliver that service experience. Now, as part of the GreenLake Cloud platform, by bringing these two and by embedding some of these technologies in our private cloud, in our complete care and flex solutions, we are giving some of this IP as part of HPE GreenLake solutions that you could consume, number one. Number two, these two solutions will be available as standalone. If you wanted to kind of go and extend the footprint to cover your public cloud assets, to cover your multi-vendor, non-HPE gear, you can subscribe to these two services as software services coming from hybrid cloud.
And that's a really important point, because we're very much, we're really committed to customer choice, right? And so whatever offers we develop, we want to make sure that they're not tethered or shackled to our infrastructure, that we're able to offer that standalone, that is in a true multi-vendor, multi-cloud manner.
It's funny, you talk about not being tethered to a specific set of infrastructure. And it's the first time Varma and I have been on stage together, but we've actually known each other for a couple of years, because most of the largest OEMs on the planet and global systems integrators happen to use two technologies together as part of their hybrid cloud offerings, and that was Morpheus and OpsRamp. So it's super exciting to be, now under one roof and delivering some value to customers, but doing that in a totally agnostic way. Obviously best in class on HPE, all in, but if you've got existing other hardware, other hypervisors, we are ready to help you improve efficiency there as well.
Excellent. So now that we've explained to folks what Morpheus does and what OpsRamp does and how the two fit together, let's dig deeper in some of the biggest innovations that are coming down the pike. So Varma, starting with you, what are some of the most exciting things that are coming out of OpsRamp?
I think, before I go down the pipe, and I wanted to kind of talk about the last year and a half journey with HPE after the acquisition. So the innovation curve of OpsRamp accelerated post-acquisition. So most acquisitions, after a large company, gets acquired, they sit in one corner and do whatever needs to be done, as opposed to what we did in the last year and a half is accelerating, doubling down the investments on the innovation. The first thing that we delivered, and those of you who have attended the Discover Las Vegas, network observability for multi-vendors beyond Aruba. So we integrated into Aruba to give the non-Aruba gear. If you have a multi-vendor need, whether it's Cisco, Juniper, Palo Alto, or any other Fortinet. So OpsRamp's IP is integrated into Aruba Central to deliver that multi-vendor network observability. Network observability means being able to bring performance management, configuration management, and topology management coming together into one integrated solution that we delivered in summer time frame. Now, continuing that journey, we completely now full stack observability, where you can do from infrastructure all the way to the applications with logs, metrics, and traces coming together to give a full stack observability for your cloud native workloads. That full journey we completed. Now, moving forward, we announced the Operations Copilot that we now GA'd. The goal here is the amount of data that we are collecting. Like you have in the keynote, for any AI, Gen AI models, data plays a critical role. And today, OpsRamp collects billions and billions of metrics across 4,000 customers, with millions of nodes under management, and we have a large amount of data that we are collecting, and we are building Gen AI models which are quote-unquote fine-tuned and designed for time series data and metric data, not large language models. So you will see a lot of enhancements coming from us in the AI-driven Copilot on top of operations for, cloud native from hybrid to public clouds. That's one big thing that you will see. The second thing with Morpheus coming into the play, there is a very interesting equation here. For every workload that is provisioned, because OpsRamp is providing the observability on top of it, and with cloud physics, the assets that we carry, we can go and do capacity optimization and financial cost optimization. So we can give an end-to-end solution by collaboratively bringing some of these IPs. And that's what you will see in the coming quarters.
That's really exciting because a lot when folks talk about FinOps, a lot of it is reporting. But because now we have the ability to actually orchestrate and deploy, and along with the observability, we can actually close the loop and actually truly optimize the customer's environment. So, Brad, now to you. What are some of the crazy stuff you're working on that customers are going to benefit from?
Nothing too crazy. I like to think we'll draft behind Varma's quick out of the gate on innovation, because I think I got my email address on November 1st at HPE, and today on the big stage, Antonio announced VM Essentials, which is right. Something we've been working on for a while.
That's pretty big, yeah.
With the team. So I think very exciting for if you guys didn't hear it. So back in June, right, HPE announced its intent to go embed a KVM-based virtualization capability inside its private cloud products. We had been working on KVM ourselves as Morpheus, and we really put the two together over the last 60, 90 days and launched today a standalone software offering that has an embedded, highly available, enterprise-ready KVM stack, but will also connect to existing brownfield VMware environments to give you VM vending. And because it's part of Morpheus, it's all the way upgradable to the full Morpheus feature set with all the bells and whistles you heard Paul talk about. So I think that's super exciting to really go deep there. Second, as Varma mentioned, I think opportunity to really bring this slide to life. My private, now public joke with Hong is I showed him a version of this slide 2 years ago and said, hey, OpsRamp and Morpheus might be a good idea.
I would say that we arrived at that conclusion separately, but at the same time.
At the same time. Okay. These are technologies that already have existing integrations with Zerto, with OpsRamp, with Morpheus. So I think this will be very real very quickly with tighter integration. And then lastly, on FinOps. FinOps comes up a lot in hybrid cloud conversations, but I often say customers have FinOps symptoms. They have governance problems, right? Putting guardrails, putting policies around, baking in self-service is one way to address cost and cost optimization. So I think we've got a lot of opportunities to bring that to life over the next few months.
Excellent. So now tell the audience now everybody's here at Barcelona, so where can they go to learn more about Morpheus and OpsRamp?
Yeah, on the Morpheus side, so we're down at the show floor. There's a virtualization and cloud operating model section down on the show floor. That's good. We've got a couple sessions. We've got a deep dive tomorrow on the new virtualization stack. And we've even got a scavenger hunt game. If you find my colleague in the back, if you want to join in the fun, we got some giveaways. We're having some fun down on the show floor as well.
Excellent.
Same here. OpsRamp is on the show floor. There is hands-on labs and a lot of breakout sessions, that you could potentially join and get a preview into what has been delivered and what is coming up. And I think a combination of these two technologies is unique and differentiated. As I said, not just for HPE, for every one of the enterprises, for you to really deliver your your expectations, your business unit's expectations on you being the first to know. So please go look up the floor, and if you need any engagements, there is a large group of OpsRamp personnel on the ground from the EMEA region. So we'll be happy to kind of engage and do a conversation.
Excellent. So thank you both for joining me on the stage today. I look forward to stopping by the show floor and checking out the labs and demos.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks much.